If I had 10,000 tongues, I couldn't tell all that the Lord has done for me. So I'll keep on singing praise. Waiting for the sunshine. Waiting for the sunshine. Ooh, waiting for the sunshine. Waiting for the sunshine. Ooh, waiting for the sunshine. Waiting for the sunshine.
Welcome to the Room 412 podcast, where we talk about real life issues but through a Christian perspective. My name is AJ Hawkins, and we got Key here, we got Chris, and we got John here.
Big dog.
Yeah, so everybody didn't want to come today. so it's just us. Nah, people,
Summertime.
stuff happens,
It's a parade in
so
a
it's just
city.
us, but yeah, the show must go on. The show must go on. We want to give you guys episodes, so we're just gonna make it do what it do. How was everybody's weekend so far?
Hot.
Hot.
Yeah. Relaxing. Getting ready for vacation.
Vacation. Where we going?
North Carolina and South Carolina. So just preparing for that. Washing clothes, picking up, swimming. What's the things that make you float?
Floating.
Life
Floaties,
jackets.
yeah,
Life
life jackets. Getting that for the
Oh, for the
kids.
kids. For the kids.
Yeah, the pool of noodles. Yeah, all of that.
You said a pool of noodles.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't they called
crazy.
noodle pools?
Pool
Noodle pools?
Pool
Y'all are
noodles.
wild.
Forget it. Forget it.
But
I'm
yeah,
drunk.
Pool
that's-
noodles. Pool noodles.
That's what I've been doing.
You too?
Well, he's been watching me do that. I don't
Oh,
want
I'm
to
about
say
to
what he said. He's been doing it. I do all the laundry. So
Getting
I've
ready.
been watching. It's okay. He's been there assisting his
Getting ready
presence.
for your
Our family vacation, yes.
getting ready for your
Kids
blog.
are-
You got your camera straight for your blogs and all that. I know you're gonna.
I do. I actually got to get that piece that
Watch
you
it.
guys
Watch
have.
it. Hold up now.
So,
We can discuss the rental prices later.
No, I want my own. Sorry. Thank you.
Everybody else been plugging their stuff. What, Key does it all.
Yeah, you should look
YouTube.
that up when you in your own time.
Yeah. I don't know. What about you, Uncle Buck?
Nothing.
Same stuff, different day.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all right.
That's it.
Just coasting through life.
Well, today, I had a birthday party. My niece, she turned 10, Brianna? 10? Yeah, my niece turned 10.
All right.
All right.
I had to ask, though, because she's like 6 feet already. Like, it's crazy. We almost the same height.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but, I had a birthday party, Me and Jermaine did a junk run. I had a lot of stuff to do today. So, then I ran home, made a fish sandwich real quick, ate it,
Okay.
You had to go have fun real quick, and then
Yo, you got obligations on Saturdays.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So that's whatever. But I guess we could get into what we're talking about right now. We pretty much gonna talk about what's God teaching you right now. What's God teaching you right now? I know as Christians, God is constantly, telling us things and all that stuff. And now as we grow in Christ and, get older and stuff like that, a lot of different things happen. We change and stuff. So our view on certain things change. So I just, want to get into, what God is teaching us right now, Anybody
A
want to
lot.
start?
Yeah.
Teaching me specifically a lot. One of the things that I don't mind sharing is patience. And patience from the lens of like perseverance, like to keep pushing. One of the things that I struggle with, I think I mentioned this on a pod before, is when we as Christians make a decision to live for Christ, a lot of times that comes with some, a sacrifice of living a certain way, doing certain things, hanging with certain people. But then you look at the ungodly people or people who aren't living righteously, and you see them flourishing, not having to give things up, and not having to move a certain way through life, and it seems as if they are progressing. You know what I'm saying? So, perseverance is something that God is teaching me, just to keep pushing, keep going, not to get weary in well doing, things of that nature. So that's been heavy on me lately.
Yeah, we have the same thing. Patience. Yours is to keep pushing. My patience is to, like, I don't know if it's the same thing, consider the same thing, but it will happen. It's just about the time. Yours is like keep going.
Yeah,
Mine's is like it takes time.
yeah,
That's always been my thing. I know I mentioned that on pods before. Like, patience has always been my thing. And as many as times as, I've been in these lessons, you would think I learned, but I'm still learning.
yeah.
So that's my thing. He's teaching me that.
I think my thing necessarily, and not to take away from you guys, but mine also has to do with being a man. You know, a lot of times as men, when something doesn't work, you just keep going, because we're designed to
Right.
figure it out and just keep pushing, essentially. So, I think that may be why I just have a different perspective on patience, because I'm a creative, I'm a visionary, I'm a hard worker, make it happen. So when you do something and you study, or you do everything you can to make sure a project goes through, and it doesn't go through, but it's in God's timing, that's the frustrating part, just as a man,
I said all mine.
Well, we just have
But, like,
different.
what perspective?
Yeah, what perspectives
Saying
is yours?
that's basic.
See, I told
that mint.
everybody.
that
We
mint.
all had a mint. I told everybody, eat your mints before the pod start. And this dude held his mint in his cheek like a chipmunk. This dude.
You store it
trying to be
for
slick,
later.
too.
For months. He
Trying to be
mint.
slick.
Don't choke.
Almost choked on that
I know,
man.
right?
You know, it came almost.
You know, I'm
Rattling
CPR
over there in their
certified.
teeth.
Yeah, I'm okay. Nah, but mine's is patience too,
Yeah.
and it's just staying the course to what's been promised to you.
Right.
But then there's those times where it feels like God be pump faking, and he need to come on and start like doing stuff, and it's like it's more of a and it's like how can I say it? It's like people are never around when you're like like going through everything, but soon as like something's not going the way it's supposed to, it seems like everybody's around for like when like everything's not going right. And it's like, where were you where everything was going good?
Right.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's that.
Like embarrassment. and shit.
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff, because like, I'll be, doing whatever I gotta do or whatever, and then, next thing you know, something will happen, and then, there's always that one person who's like, well, you might wanna, and then like that you might wanna, that puts me in your bad graces.
Right.
Because I know you don't, and I know between me and my wife have an understanding. So the thing is, so like when we try to explain our situation to people, some people they don't get it, and it's something that they're probably not going to get.
It's not
But
meant for them to.
it's between me and her. I
Right.
married her, so
Right.
if we in the mud, I'm gonna be in the mud with you.
Right.
But it's that kind of thing, and it's just like I said, y'all took majority of them. It's just patience to do those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
F.
Teaching. I think it's just something like just like the space I am right now in life. It's like I don't know what the word would be. Maybe like evangelizing, like bringing more people to Christ. Like, because I know the pastor has been like, he put like the charge out to like bring more people to church and stuff like that. And so for me, my circle's pretty tight. All my friends pretty much go to the church already, or they might have a church home. But I think for me, it's finding a way to bring more people to God. I feel like he's been sending like a lot of people my way to like have religious conversations, So pretty much for me, I think it's like getting in the lab, like reading more and like not just reading and just getting more understanding to where I can speak to people like better about God and being able to like
Be equipped.
describe and articulate,
Yeah.
equip with all that stuff. Yeah, because like before, I don't know. I think before when I was younger, it was just talking about church, like bringing people to the church because I was a part of the choir. But yo, come listen to my choir singing all that stuff. I think that was the biggest draw. Like before, like when I was younger, like we had our basketball team. So before, I come like play ball.
Right.
Like you feel me? So that was easy. And then as I got older, I was singing. So I was in praise and worship, and it was a choir. Oh yeah, I got a banging choir. I want to listen to your choir. You hear me sing? Yeah, come hear me sing. Blah 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 blah. But now since I don't sing in the choir, it's like, what is that draw? And I know it's always the draw was to bring them to Christ and to save their soul, but to actually, make it palatable to the people to actually want to come. And it like, we were talking about before with, it seems like in this generation, like religion really isn't relevant. So also bridging that gap towards like making it relevant to their lives. Because also we talked about also in another pod, it's like everybody's also going and finding their own ways.
To what you call it.
Yeah, so
It's not to Christ, it's not to
yeah.
God, but it's just
Yeah.
finding their own truth, so to speak.
So that's my place, especially with doing this podcast now. Like we're stepping out, and now like Christianity is like one of the things that people just see me as like, yo, this guy's a Christian. So it's just like now it's like, dang, like
I have a question based on what you were saying. There was a post going around, or actually right now, where I'm paraphrasing, but basically it was asking why is relationships or dating or something like that so hard in the church.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
And one of the people that responded or shared it or put, did whatever, they put their piece on it, they were talking about how the church, it's funny because it was down the middle. One person would say the church isn't doing enough talking about relationships and things of that nature, and marriages and friendships and things. And someone else will say the church has no place to say that, and we're being small-minded by thinking that the church should be a prerequisite of finding friendships and relationships. And you said that, you just said your point, and I'm thinking about how us specifically, we've seen how fellowship
Right.
has brought so many, introduced, I'm not going to say brought people, but introduced people to Christ and to the love of God, whether it been the basketball team, the dance team, the choir. So should the church jump into, because I've seen some places, I know Chris shared to me one time how there was a Christian party or club. I've seen some churches do, speed dating for church singles. Like we said, we've had a basketball team, secular things, but doing it from a standpoint of faith. Should the church have say so, or should we be making more of an effort to do fellowship, things of fellowship, so that those relationships and those moments of evangelizing, you have more to present to someone? Because if you just say, yo, pull up and come to church, everybody may or may not. But if you say, hey, I have this to present to you, I have this fellowship option, this, hey, we going to play pool, hey, we going fellas night, we going to the movies, we going, what I'm saying, you're single. We had someone pull up to us one day after church and say, hey, I'm single, if you know anybody, what do I present to? And that's my friend, you know what I'm saying? Me just saying, yo, pull up to church.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, like, do you think the church should have say so in our everyday relationships and offer options?
I feel like they should. I feel like the church should evolve. Everybody. I don't understand where this came from, because everybody act like there's nothing going on in church, like as far as like relationship, intimacy, and all that stuff. And clearly, it's happening because we're procreating, obviously.
Right.
I feel like there should be more teaching and more teaching and more knowledge on how, emphasis on that, and knowledge on how to date as a Christian person,
or just have relationships
as a Christian person. because now we're going off of our understanding based on what the world is, and you can't always conduct your relationship like that as a Christian person.
Yeah, especially not today.
Right, because
Right.
the standards and the morals aren't the same.
Right.
And so I feel like we should be able to open up to that. Now, there can be a limit on how you do it. We don't have to do it exactly how the world do. I feel like, our youth would come in more if you showed them more opportunities. Like, okay, you can be saved and listen to music, but let's filter what we listen to. Like in a sense, like this is the type of music that we listen to. Now, it's not corny because we're so stuck in tradition on what church is supposed to look like and what church is supposed to be that it like definitely scare people away and they don't want to come.
And they don't think that we have lives.
Right, and they don't think
Yeah.
that we have lives. They don't think that we have fun.
Right.
Like I won't get invited to certain places like, oh, cause Kiara go to church, so she can't go. She
Right.
can't come here.
Right.
What do you mean? I know how to be in a place and be sober and have fun.
Right.
Like I have a personality.
Right.
I love God,
Right.
but I still have a personality and I
Right.
like to have fun. I'm not stale, know? So I think that we should definitely bring
But a lot
that
of
to the church.
A lot of people don't understand that duality outside of church.
Right, which is why
So
we
they'll
need
be
to
like, well, you go over here because
yeah, and they always separate that, which is even more of the reason why we need to be able to say, okay, you can be a Christian and still live your life. Like I know growing up, I was very Pentecostal when I was growing up. They used to tell us that we couldn't go to the movies because going to the movies was a sin. Now, how the heck is going to the movies is a sin? Like, what happens? But I never understood that. But as I grew older and I understand like how it's not a sin, like so you have these certain people who are just stuck and trapped in tradition, religions, or what their formality is, and they're lost.
Right.
But I
Go
think
ahead.
I think that's why it is important for us to have different fellowship opportunities as Christians, because like you just said, your friend's not inviting you places and you're just like, I could be sober and have fun. Like I think that's a good example right there. It's just like they're probably not inviting you to the place where everybody's gonna be drunk because it's the things that a Christian's not supposed to be in that setting. But if you had a setting to where you can be where you're having fun
Right.
with a bunch of Christians,
Right.
you wouldn't be worried about being over there with the people who are, getting intoxicated.
Or or they
Or-
feel, or they
or-
feel convicted.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
that too.
Or-
low key, is it conviction on their behalf?
Right.
It is.
They're the ones that
Yeah.
feel
Right.
bad, so they're
It's
gonna-
because
But it's like-
it has nothing to do with me. It's
but-
my decision whether if I'm going to drink or not.
Yeah.
It's my decision on how I conduct myself as a Christian in this party.
But your presence.
Yeah,
But
but
I understand
but
my
also,
presence,
why
but-
would you want to be like let's just say a party for instance, like why would you want to be around all that stuff in the party
Well,
that they doing?
well, it's not that I
Like-
want to be around the stuff that they're doing because they're going to do what they want to do. But I'm young. I like music,
I know, but that's what I'm
so
saying.
I
like
like
the
to. I would like
alternative.
to be.
But like even like so we were talking about like you said secular music, like you can have certain music that you can listen to that's not raunchy and all that stuff. It's like in those certain settings that music might be playing, like the whole environment, like the whole vibe of the place could be in a place where you could be tempted to do certain things and all that stuff. That's why I said I
Well,
think
you have
it
to
is.
know your limit.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Well, for what you were saying
Mm-hmm.
about like I'm not sure what goes on in the Christian clubs. I never been
Half
in
and half.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you feel me.
Yeah,
So
Because
me
maybe
revelry
either.
is still a thing.
yeah,
Right.
so maybe
Yeah, yeah.
that might be somewhere we could be at if you had that type of alternative to where you can still feed that desire of just wanting to have fun to listen to music and chilling and hanging with your friends, but it won't be that you won't have the temptation to do the certain things that's being played in the music and what your friends are doing. You won't have all that stuff around you.
Right, but it's.
Like
I agree, but it's
was
not
talking about the
just.
party.
But it's just not just with friends either. Like family, do we not go
Yeah.
to family cookouts where they're playing the
Yeah.
music and stuff
I
like
was
that?
just
like
talking about the party.
Right.
no, I know,
Yeah.
I agree, but in the same sense because not just our friends have parties, our family have parties.
Yeah.
Like we've been to families where their birthday parties was crazy,
Right.
and a lot of stuff was going on in the birthday parties. Like, do we not show up? Because I mean, if we're close friends, you're still considered family to me. So I
Right.
want to be there to
Yeah.
support. So it's kind of hard, but that's where I said where, self-control comes into play.
Yeah.
Like you got to learn how to and what you like. You got to know
Yeah.
your limit before you like, okay, well, I know this is going to be going on because the
Right.
type of crowd it is, whatever. I want to come here. Right. And
The
it is
cookout thing, that's
unfortunate.
Right.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
And the reason why that that struck something when you brought that up, just to kind of bring it
Mm-hmm.
full circle, is because one of the things that um not necessarily God is teaching me, but God is like, I feel like doing um through me, or initiating, I should say, is the help me Jesus get these words together, to basically bring back integrity to the church, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
something that my father has
Mhm.
always had a passion for, and always wanted to do, and kind of instilled in me. So now that I'm here, hence, the Room 412 podcast, literally First Timothy 4 and 12, just being a light to young people. But
Right.
evangelism is such a huge part of being
Right.
young
Right.
and having something to offer.
Right.
That's why you said that, and it's so important to me as well, because we have to talk about these things
We
as
do.
young people.
We do.
Relationships, forget relationships, fitness, love,
Right.
Yeah.
wealth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's so many different things, like you said, even to being equipped. A lot of us don't even really know the Bible like that. Like, you
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Pastor said on Sunday about how, back in the day, church was a little bit more um it was a little bit more intense, so to speak, because everybody read the word during the week.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So when the pastor gets up on Sunday, he's just reiterating what you've already read all week, so
Yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Mm-hmm.
But now pastors spend so much time teaching you the stories of the Bible that he doesn't necessarily have time for us to grow and deal with the
Right.
deeper things.
Right.
So evangelism, you said that, and it just kind of struck a nerve, just to bring it full circle, that I think that the church should take further steps into the lives of Christians, not
Right.
just eternal life, right? Because
Right.
we already know that,
Yeah.
Romans
Yeah.
10,
Yeah.
9, you
Yeah.
save, you go to heaven. But how can I have a good life while I'm here on earth? God blessed me with 60, 70, 80
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
of life. How can I have a good life? And I think that
And not feel like I'm gonna lose my integrity as a Christian.
exactly, and I don't think that you do. We talked last week about, or not last week, but
Mm-hmm.
on the last pod, about freedom in Christ,
Right.
right? What does that look like as as you present
Right.
Christ to people? Because
Right.
the first thing, another thing we mentioned on last pod, and which we'll dive deeper in on another pod, is what you have to give up to be a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
right? The sacrifices of being a
Mm-hmm.
Christian. How do you evangelize that? How do you tell people that you know life in Christ is fun?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you kind of got me on a rant when you said that.
That
But
sacrifice thing is funny though, because sacrifice thing is funny because it's like everything you do is a sacrifice.
yeah,
Like the church is the only thing that people complain about the sacrifice.
right. But
'Cause-
but
Like,
like you
yours-
said,
yeah,
but you
yours-
might sacrifice the church for something else.
Yeah, but you was like
But they only complain because coincidentally what we have to give up in church is something that they don't really want to sacrifice.
Well,
But
right.
Yeah, but
essentially
that's what
you're
sacrifice is.
right, but
Yeah.
essentially you're sacrificing anyway. You
I-
don't want to go to work, but you're
because
sacrificing.
I don't
Like,
think
you
they,
know?
Right,
they
right.
value what the church is
What it
is
gives.
offering, yeah,
Right.
what it's giving, and I
You-
think that's what it is. But I don't think oftentimes the church does that great of a job in actually describing
Right, what you gain.
what
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
gain is.
yeah.
To that point,
Right.
yo,
right.
if you're presenting Christ. What am I gaining? Oh well, besides eternal salvation,
Mhm.
I'm gaining understanding, real practical principles about how to have a successful marriage,
Mm-hmm.
how to be a successful parent, how to be a successful friend, a successful brother. The Bible talks about how to pay your debts. The Bible talks about how to be a good businessman, businesswoman.
Mm-hmm.
You're gaining a lot,
Yeah.
but with integrity, and not only with integrity, but also with the supernatural promises of God on top.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? You go to work and they say, yo, you work 40 hours, whatever you work on 40, that's what you get paid for.
Mhm.
That's not a biblical principle, right? The tithes, you pay your tithes 10%, running over, blah, 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 all that stuff that we say in church. God blesses it and breathes on it. You gain more.
You do.
But people don't believe it and people don't trust it.
You think? Yeah, I think like I know when we were younger, like there was a whole lot of testimony service and all that stuff. You think
Mhm.
that's like still a thing? I don't see it often, but I don't be in church like that.
It happens. It just
I'm in
doesn't
church. I'm at
happen
church every
often.
Sunday, but
'Cause I've seen it like
Yeah.
firsthand, like
It's not.
happening.
I don't. I haven't seen it.
I've seen
Because
it.
Like
because
we
we were
used
talking
to.
about giving, talking about what you gain. It's just like, are we still having those quote unquote success stories and all that, you know?
I don't think that people, and I'm on a rant. You got me going with that.
No, it's
you know what I
fine.
mean? But I don't
My
think
job.
that people allow the space for God to do miraculous things. You know,
I agree. I agree.
the promises, right? Yes, God can stop everything natural and do something supernatural. Yes, but the promises of God to where you have to only believe that it was God is a conditional thing.
Right.
And you know, you have to do your part so that God can do his. And I think to the sacrifice thing, a lot of people don't want to do the sacrificial part to
Yeah.
gain the promise, gain the miracle. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take. I don't think that people are allowing the space for God to, like I said on the other pod, like we're happy with our B level life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And because we control it,
Right.
you know. But God is saying, hey, if you trust me, I'll give you an A+ life.
Right.
But
does.
we're content with our. So that's my take because I don't see it either.
Yeah, I was just thinking
Yeah.
about that. Because some stuff, like, traditionally, I think, doesn't need to go away. I think a lot of times with church, we're modernizing it, and, like, even, like, the look of how church is, everything's just empty with all the, you know, the big electronic in the background. You can know all the religious, like, things out of, like, that the altar out of the way. And, you know, every church used to go in there, had the big Bible and the pictures of Jesus and the crosses everywhere. Like, when you see all the big popular churches that you see online, it's just like, what, like, evidence of what's in the Bible is shown, like, visually in the church?
Right.
Like, you guys, like, realize that, like, everything is just plain. It's just
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that's it. I feel like I feel like that's aesthetics. But even though it's aesthetics, I feel like because I be on these YouTube pages, people talking about like engineering, lighting, sound, and stuff like that. A lot of them they do it because it gets rid of a background, a specific background. Like for instance, like you can know somebody in New Haven. You can know when somebody's at their church.
Right.
Like if I go on a video, oh, that's at so and so's church. Oh, that's at so and so's church. They got rid of the background and the whole setup of it, so they can be able to change it
For anything.
For anything.
All purpose.
So like
Yeah.
they might not want this kind. They might not want like this red and this orange together. Might not like the way that looks. Let's do something.
Or
different.
someone else might be using a facility
Or
so they can.
Yeah, a lot of people, and then that speaks to the church as far as some, because you know some people rent their church out.
Right.
So you want to have the best in it, so people can bite and actually want to use that space.
So how do I feel about that? I feel like that's a good thing or something, or, you know, what impact do you
It's
think
passive income,
the
to be
impact,
honest.
if any, does that have on church?
I think that is bad. Me and Key was just laughing the other day about how important, not even important, but how sacred going in the
Yeah.
pulpit was.
Yeah.
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 You know what I'm saying? I clean the church here. I set up the lights and everything like that here. If I ever have to move the altar, I ask God to forgive me.
Yeah.
Like that's just something that's been embedded
Right.
in me
Right.
since a kid. You know
Right.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So I think by taking out all the things that are sacred, you remove the responsibility of teaching the next generation reverence. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's a bad thing. I don't want to say bad, but I just think that it does have, you know, implications that
Yeah,
we
it's
may
a
or may
ramification.
I
not.
think so
for that.
too, but I also think that no one is being taught how sacred those pieces are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just look at them as expendable pieces. See, our generation,
Or
we
furniture, or aesthetic.
right, our generation, we were taught that this is sacred
Right.
items here.
Right.
You don't touch this. You don't move.
You
that.
drop dead if you
drop
touch it.
dead. Right,
Dog.
like the covenant.
Right.
Like so, we were taught, but now everybody's moving everything for aesthetics to make to make their, like Chris said, to make their church multi-purpose for whatever. But it makes it it takes, to me, I'm old fashioned. It kind of takes the sacredcy away. Like anybody can walk into an auditorium and just like use the auditorium for whatever they want to use
Right.
it for.
Right.
But you're not supposed to be like that. I feel like,
And
you
I'm
know,
both.
church,
I'm about to say, and I get
church,
it, dude.
Yeah.
Too,
like I,
because
I do get it because you want to, like, you know, a lot of this started happening during COVID, so everybody was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm renting out my church, it looks like this, it can go whatever way you want to go, you know,
And you want to be modern.
and you want to be modern, right?
and
You
with
want to be
people
up to
not
date,
necessarily
and
being in church, you need
Right.
to pay the bills still.
and as a
Right.
viewer, you know, if you're viewing online, it looks different. It's
does
capturing with
look
the
good,
lights
yeah.
and all of that stuff. So it's appealing to the eye, but
Yeah.
you know, I still believe in sacrecy of the altar, the pulpit, the big old Bible, the crosses, and all that stuff. But that's because I'm old fashioned.
Jermaine won't get in here. I've been trying to tell him to get a camera, but he refuses
Oh.
He
to.
refuses.
Maybe he don't got a haircut this week or something. I don't know.
No, my question is not really a question, comment more so. Since we were taught that how sacred the altar was from our parents and that generation,
that's
now
where
we're
you're
the next generation.
Right.
Are we teaching that to our kids? And how are
Yeah.
we teaching that to our kids?
It's
See,
funny.
well,
I
this is-
just had to get on Ant about because I know so like after church, I know our kids just be running around this church and all that stuff. We weren't allowed to do that. We would get beatings all the time.
Right, right.
I know we don't really be paying attention to our kids often because we do stuff in the church. Like I'm sitting there trying to send files and
Yeah.
like and then you know Brianna and downstairs counting money and Keys doing the store and like we got a lot of stuff that we're doing. My dad chews me out all the time, and we were here actually teaching the younger generation about the media. We was doing the media thing, and then my son was hanging on the altar and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I had to get on him, and I brought my daughter up there too, and I got on her. I'm like, yo, don't go up there. Like I finally it shouldn't have took this long for me to have that moment because I see them be running across and all that stuff, all the kids, and I just had to. That moment, I just like, yo, I had to like, yo, let me teach him real quick because it ain't sitting right with me. I
Yeah.
wasn't able to do that, and yeah, so
I think that, so two things. Number one is, you know, in our church it's still here, but in a lot of churches it's not even there to have the conversation. That's, you know, it's not
Yeah.
even a pulpit anymore, it's a stage now.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So the definition has changed. You know what I'm saying? So that's one. Two is, once again, it goes down to being equipped and reading the Bible. You know, the story that scared us is the, you know, two guys that I think they were brothers or something like that. The Ark of the Covenant fell, and they wanted to save it, not even touching it, but they
Right.
just wanted to save it from falling on the ground.
Right.
And when they touched it, they died.
Right.
You know, so those stories that are embedded in us as children, we have to do the same thing with our kids. Hey,
Right.
you know, 'cause our parents, you know, they said like, "Yo, you touch that, you'll die."
Yeah.
You know, that I
Yeah.
distinctly remember those conversations.
I did,
not even
too.
conversations, but those, you know, those getting yelled at. Just, hey, you touch that, you die. You know, have a stroke. You know, crazy stuff they used to tell us to
See,
scare
I
us.
didn't have that, but I knew I was gonna get a whooping.
Well, that too.
Yeah, that's what-
But
I
that
never-
was
my
I never
direct-
had that,
Yeah.
though.
Well,
Nobody
because it's
told me
a
that.
correlation.
Y'all know I had it.
I didn't
grew
have
up
it. I
in
know y'all
Gospel.
probably did.
Yeah.
I know the story, but I'm just saying, like,
Right.
nobody told me I was gonna die, but I knew I was gonna get a whooping. I know I wasn't supposed to be up there.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just told not to touch it.
Right.
My mom didn't give me no reasons why.
Well, that too.
Don't
Right.
touch
Right.
that.
You respect your
I
mom.
said-
I said don't
I
touch
don't know what's
it.
gonna happen, but I know
So
when
I
it's gonna
just
be
thought
good.
it was really
so.
expensive furniture.
Oh my God.
I used to
like,
want to turn the
okay.
pages on the Bible. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna hold you.
yeah.
gonna
So
hold you.
to me, that's it. One, it's not there to have the conversation, and number two is, you know, then another thing too is, you know, since we're going down that road too, which, you know, just to tie it all in, of things that we're learning is, another thing that God is teaching me is how to implement, not the fear of God, our religion, to my children.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we talked about in a few pods about how other faiths, they don't play. Their kids are
Right.
5, 6, 7 quoting
Whatever.
their holy book. So that's something else that God is, me and Key, has been really pressing on us with our children. So that's just, I think that's a conversation that you need to have through studying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just talking to your
Right.
kids and letting them know
Right.
about that. So
What was I about to say? There was when we were talking about. All right, we'll scratch that because I don't remember. So listen, I know when you said about patience, because I wanted to get back to that patience. And I'll get back to what I was saying before because I just forgot one. But you were talking about you're dealing with patience right now. I know that is something that a lot of people deal with. So I wanted to ask you. I wanted to get everybody to talk about it first, but I wanted to ask you, what are you doing to help with that right now? Both of you guys, all three of you guys, because all three of you guys have patience. Like, what are you guys doing to help you with being impatient?
one thing, once again, we're just sticking with the topic of lessons that God is teaching you is trust. God has been trying to get me to trust Him for a long time. I remember distinctly one time. People say God said, and it's just a thing that you feel. I remember one time I was struggling with something, and I was like, "Yo," not struggling. I was fearful about doing something, and I said, "This." I talked to God. I said, "Yo, you show me the stairs, I'll take a step." He says the opposite.
You
Take a step, I'll show you the stairs.
Right.
And
Y'all wildin'.
Yeah.
and but I've always been trust is a thing that
Right.
and I think maybe that's why God is so heavy on patience, because you're gonna work yourself to death
Heck
if
yeah.
if it's not in God's timing, especially if you're doing something for
Right.
God. You know, I'll stick there. If you're doing something for God, something that He told you to do, it's in His timing.
Right.
I was listening to the Perry's podcast, and they were talking about how he was hoping that this next generation is not so, and I'm paraphrasing, but not so results driven. And that just goes in a line to what I've been saying on the pod for a long time, just about we always think that something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we're afraid that if we sow a seed, that we have to see the tree. And that may not be the case. We may be, people that plant the seed and you never see
Right.
the fruits of your labor, but it's for a reason. And I think that that's something
There's always have
that
to be
there's
a
an
seed
issue with
planter.
that in this American theology where you get something for what you do, that hinders us as Christians, and myself included, because you do something, you want to return, but we don't understand that what we do for God has eternal value.
Right.
And if it's eternal, that means that it's not locked within your 70 years of living.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta kind of be okay with God tells you to do something, you have to do it, whether or not you are gonna see the fruit of that.
Exactly.
Now, yes, God can preserve your life to see
Right.
the fruit, but He told David, you're not gonna be the one that's gonna build my temple. Your son is gonna do that, and you have to be okay with that. Like,
Right.
God, this is what I want, but you're not gonna be the one to do that. Your son is gonna do that, or whomever is gonna do that, or this is for the next generation. So, trusting God, and just like I said earlier, as a man, just realizing, what you're toiling for may or may not be for reward in this life. So that it's just ultimate trust, and just taking your hands off of it and realizing, like, fam, you can't outweight God. He is eternal.
Yeah, that's
I'm trying to
You
tell
can't
you.
His patience
Is
is different.
by
So
far.
finna be dead.
you could
Right.
so you could keep bumping your head and trying to make something work if you want to.
Yeah.
He has an eternity to wait.
Right.
And so that's how I deal with it. Like, it's just He's sovereign, and it's nothing you can do about it.
For me, I have to keep indulging myself in His Word. I have to. Every time I get those moments, I have to go back to that, and it reels me in and keep me at bay. Because we all know, I always say this, that I will worry myself into a frenzy, and just trying to figure it out, the next move, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to handle this, whatever. So that's how I handle that. I just have to indulge myself into His Word, and keep conversation with him. Like I have to. I agree with you with the trust thing. You know, we've talked about that before with my trust thing. But that's just really how I get through it, and I'm still working through it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
yeah.
Another thing too, sorry to say this, I'm not sorry to say it, but sorry to interrupt, is like I said, that American theology, I really try
Right.
my hardest. That's something that like I'm like working on getting rid of because God is not American. He doesn't work in the American
Exactly.
way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's just like a real big thing that I think us as American Christians deal with a lot as far as how we see God.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And what we expect. So I practice not seeing God through an American lens
Yeah.
because
That's
it
good.
it,
Yeah.
it, it hinders you and it makes you it challenges your faith in a way that is dangerous.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's something also that I do because despite what everybody says on social media, everybody's not going to be rich. Everybody's not going to be a millionaire. Everybody's not
Right.
getting a
That's a tough pill to
big old
swallow
house.
too.
Right.
Everybody is not going to get the picket fence with the dog and
Exactly. Exactly.
so I try to see things through that lens. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Another thing too, I wanted to say with your trust thing, because you say you had to trust that you may not see the fruit
Mhm.
of whatever you start. I just want to also add to that is everything that's up and running. There was a person who started it,
yeah.
and their like the vision came from somewhere.
Mhm.
They didn't. They knew that it would grow this way, but they didn't expect them to not be able to see
Right.
it.
Right.
So we have to be okay. Like you
Right.
say, you have to be okay with, okay, I'm going to be the first person to plant this seed into this ground.
Right.
And I may not even reap any benefits of what this seed is
Right. And
or,
to your
or what
point,
come up to the seed.
sorry, you just reminded me.
Golly.
To your point,
Wake up.
even if it's shameful,
Even if it's shameful.
even if it's shameful, I
Yeah.
was reading a book and it was talking about how the lady that worshipped Jesus' feet, she was looked at so crazy by the people that was around, but her moment of worship and sacrifice and the shame of, what she went through,
Right.
Jesus told her, yo, what you've done is going to be talked about along with the Gospels.
Exactly.
I'm paraphrasing, but along with the Gospels for the rest of time. So that helps too. Just when I'm talking about, eternal value,
Right.
her sacrifice of washing Jesus' feet or worshiping at his feet. That story, Jesus said, this is going to be told throughout the history along with the
Right.
Gospels.
Right.
So to that point, even when you're having those down moments, and I'm having those down moments, you're doing a project and it's not successful. I try to keep that too. It's like, yo, how does God see this?
Right.
Even though it's not successful in man's eyes, even though
Right.
if I'm looked down in man's eyes,
Right.
how does God see this? How does Jesus see this? How does he see my sacrifice of worship, praise, finance, time, effort? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, cool with Finding Nemo.
what?
What
The
you
movie?
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like, just keep swimming.
Yeah.
I don't like fish.
Oh, my God.
You just had a fish
You
sandwich,
just had
bro.
a fish sandwich.
Dog, it was dead. Dog, I like eating fish. I don't like seeing them.
Oh yeah. You
But
like touching them.
No, he
No.
doesn't.
I
Relax,
never touched
relax.
fish in my life.
But
He about to get the EBGs.
seriously,
I was-
That's one of my things. Like I be on the
Fishing?
water. Yeah, fishing. And I be on the water and I be just talking to God, saying whatever. If you don't hear me, if you do hear me, I just be saying whatever I gotta say until I feel like I'm done. Hopefully I done caught a lot.
Caught a lot of fish for
Please
your bread.
put a net down.
Yeah. While
but
I'm
these,
talking to
but this
God.
world, this day, have to be okay with the way how God looks at you and not how people look at you.
Yeah,
It's
and
not-
I'm
it's
in that,
hard.
and I'm in that space, like what John was talking about. Like you might not be this, you may not be that, you might not get the house with the this and that. I've been there for so long, and it's like now I'm just waiting for the right moment
Right.
because I'm not in that place where it's like, yeah, I want my family to be straight, but all I want to do is just be able to fish. That's it. That's all me.
You know, my big thing is, like, speaking about trust. I guess that's what God is working on me with. So, like, I think my big thing with trust is with finances,
Mm.
like tithing.
Mhm.
I realized that it's easy to tithe when you're comfortable. Like when your
Yeah.
finances are comfortable, when you live in
When
paycheck
you-
to paycheck,
yeah.
especially being a man, it's like
I
you know,
don't-
cause
I-
God got you gotta trust him. It's like you on some like you hold me down, I got you type stuff. But it's like if I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I know I gotta pay this bill right here, and it's like giving up that money, it's like not knowing if that's I'm gonna be able to pay. Like you feel me?
So,
I think that's the
Jermaine
trust
has
part
something.
right there. Go ahead. I
Jermaine
just-
about to
a dialogue.
plug.
Go ahead. Speak.
I mean, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, how I look at it, just from tithing and everything about that, it's like when I tithe, I try to put something on it or talk to God, like based on what I want Him to do.
Mhm.
So one thing about me it's not necessarily, oh God, I need more money.
Mhm.
That would be nice,
Mhm.
but I'm telling God, I'm paying these tithes, but I need you to teach me how to be a good steward over my money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
And I think once we get to that point,
Yeah.
being a good steward of our money, we'll understand we actually do have enough money for
Yeah.
tithes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We have
Right.
enough money to pay all our bills.
Right.
Or, God would say, hey, cut half those subscriptions down that
Right.
we all have.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Once you do that,
Right.
Right.
you'd be like, yo, I actually have enough money to do
Right.
all that.
Right.
I don't know. That's something to think about.
No,
So-
but yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
like that's
But
a good way of.
sacrifice.
I was gonna say.
But I'm saying
sacrifice.
it's that sacrifice. I think like everybody has their thing. It's just like
'Cause I'ma
I
tell you-
know
I'ma
for me,
tell you right
I'm not
now.
good with money, and I think that's that's probably what it is. Like I never thought about it like the way you said. It's like praying over it because it's like it's always like because you said like you do something for the gift type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like all right. I don't got this money. I'm gonna pay these tithes, God. I'm gonna need you to give me a better job so I can pay the tithes. But you probably always gonna run into that if you're not good with money. But for you to say like, yo, God, I'm gonna help me be a good steward over my money. I never thought of being like, yo, God, help me be
Yeah.
good with my money.
Yeah.
Like, yo, God, help me get more money.
Yeah.
But then you get that more, and I've been there. I've probably making the most I've ever made in
So-
my life, but I always had an issue with tithing. So it's
Yeah.
just like, God's giving you what you want, but just
Because it's
The problem
it's
is
not
you.
the
trust.
problem is
It's not trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did y'all just unlock rich people problems?
Explain.
Like how they always tell you, like, money ain't gonna do this, money ain't gonna do that. You can have all that in the world, and you this and that. But
It's about the person.
have you ever asked for God to make you a better steward over your money?
Me personally, yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just
But-
saying.
but-
for those
that
people,
literally never
But as
crossed my
culture,
mind.
no, we don't.
I'm
No.
about to
That
say,
never
Right.
crossed my mind.
We just ask for more money.
crazy.
Never
We
crossed my
just
mind.
ask for
Just
more
give me more
money.
money.
Yeah.
Because if you
Why
give me
not?
more money, I'm gonna have money for you.
But that's not true.
Not true.
You gonna feel it. You gonna
Why
fill it
not
up.
be a better
You gonna
liaison
find something else to pay
over
for.
Yeah.
Your own finance. what you
If
already
you're
got.
not gonna tithe when you don't have it, you're not gonna tithe when you have it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And then one thing, how we live,
I literally
and
live
we
off
don't realize it. We live off percentages. The
Yep.
same percentages you live off now is gonna be the same percentages later.
Right.
So making more money, just bring those percentages the
Uh,
same, but
yeah.
you're
Right.
spending more money
Right.
based
Right.
on those percentages.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So you gotta actually allocate that 10%
Right.
in
Exactly.
the beginning. So when you start making more money, that 10% will always be
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Another thing too, I was talking to my mom one time. I was getting my nails done, right? And
This guy.
chill.
Soft life.
So
Soft life.
I was looking at the people, right? And you know the people.
Yeah.
I was looking at the people, and I'm looking, and
Yeah.
I just I went there. Listen to my story.
No, I'm listening.
I went there
I'm
because
receiving right now.
the other lady that I went to get my nails done, she wasn't,
Uh-oh.
she wasn't
Oh.
doing.
Oh, your lady wasn't into
Yeah,
that?
she wasn't. No,
Oh,
she wasn't
yeah.
doing it right. So I went to that spot. But my point is, I was looking at them and I just saw wealth, and I saw, and then I looked at another race of people, and I saw wealth, and I said, "Yo, speaking of rich people problems, it's amazing." Now I know this is crazy to say because we all black.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how they have acquired wealth by serving
Right.
and by giving.
Right.
We say this all the time. And my mom, remember when they started doing the nails. They was doing nails $10, $20 a pop.
Yep.
Chicken wings with the fries, $5, $10 a pop.
Yep.
We do a dinner,
$12.
$15,
$20.
$15. Listen, they do the nails, we do the nails, $100, $150. So I was sitting there, I'm looking, I'm like, yo, I came back, I told my pops, I said, yo, look how far they got with serving,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We don't want to sacrifice or lower ourselves for a benefit, right? Most rich people are going to tell you that the key to riches is giving.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard multiple rich
Yeah, I've
people
heard
say that is that the key to I can't think of the word that they use, but the key to riches is giving, and biblical principles work whether you're a Christian or not.
Right.
And I think that if we would understand that serving would unlock, I don't want to say riches is in an American way,
Yeah, yeah.
but it'll unlock a different level of life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If we were to serve, I think that that's something that we have to look at. You know what I'm saying? Because our problems could be answered naturally and supernaturally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
And it's more accessibility as far as like reaching out.
yeah,
with
yeah,
people,
yeah.
Meet more people.
If you,
and
for
if
sure,
you're in the right place,
for sure.
the right room.
Yeah.
Just imagine what the church could do, what Christians could do if we had access to money, right? But not for ourselves, but to serve. You know what I'm saying? Our reach would go so much further.
It would.
Christ's love, Christ's healing power, Christ's provision, all of that will go so much further. His truth will go so much further. But everything, and I'm talking about black people now, everything that we do has to come back in. It has to come. It has to come back in. And I think that's our issue, and
Yeah.
that's why
But
our reach is not reaching.
But that's crazy you say that though, because I was having a conversation with somebody and I literally said the same exact thing, and I was like, every time you turn around, it's always back
Yeah.
coming.
Right.
It has to come back.
Right.
It has to come back. But I was like, yo,
But it don't have to, because it'll
It
come
will.
back regardless.
Right.
it will.
But if you seek to give only to receive, you're not.
You might as well
Yeah.
not do it.
Fam,
Yeah.
we're just gonna talk about it. I truly believe that is the key to the emergence of, we'll just call them the CCM churches, right? They have they have a willingness to serve,
Right.
and God is gonna bless that. You get what I'm saying? So I just think that if we would understand that, we might unlock another level of our power, anointing on a natural way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Love storage. Oh, so yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you think that has something to do with us being enslaved, like our mentality?
I think it does, and I think that is unfortunate, but it doesn't change the principle. And I know that's super
I mean,
crazy to say,
Yeah.
as being a
black
black
man.
man with the last name Cotton.
Right.
But I think
I
that,
don't think we said your last name.
but I think that the principle is still the principle,
Yeah.
and and even back to it's unfortunate, right? But even back to what you said about trust, when we're talking about trust, fam, them people had to trust God.
Yeah.
I know when you look at it in the moment, and yes, super evil, and you know who my dad is, so I know
Yeah.
how evil it is, but their level of faith, their level of trust in God, their level of hope, you know what I'm saying, is you can't match it.
You can't.
You know what I'm saying? Even today, in freedom, in wealth, in excess, in we can't even hope to have the type of faith that they had. We got people right now tripping because a report came out because they said the Wi-Fi might be down for 6 months.
Oh Lord, I'm
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. But I said all that to say, to your point about giving
There's
is
a blessing in serving.
there's a blessing in serving and there's a blessing in giving.
and giving.
See, that's why you need a camera. Because that'll be a good clip to help somebody else. You ain't just helping me. See, we talking to more people. now I got to clip it with my dumb face on it. And sitting there like, oh.
But
Yeah.
and it's not trust, bro. Like if you only
No, I was going through that in my
if
brain.
you could only
Just-
give
yeah.
when you have it,
That's not trusting.
that's not trusting.
That's like
That's
only
not.
praising God when you're in
When
good
things is up.
good times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's the difference between praise and worship.
But that's
the difference.
But that's why this is important, and that's why, like, going back to what we were saying before, like having people around you, you know, who can help build you up. It's like
Right.
literally, like I said, I never thought about praying to God to help me
Be a
manage
better
my money,
steward
be a
over
better steward over my money.
But just for that next step, you got to be willing to do what he
Well,
said.
yeah, and that too,
Right.
yeah, because
Because I know for me, there was a season when he said, "Yo, fam, you gotta make a coffee at the crib,"
yeah,
and that hurt. There's a season when he said, "Yo,
Dog.
John, no more shrimp and broccoli with the." You feel me?
Yeah.
That hurt.
but I'm saying
You know
that's what I'm dealing
saying?
with right now. I was just talking to Jermaine today in the car, and I was talking about like trying to like manage my money and like
sound good, though.
at work.
I'm
I'ma have to go get
I was saying at work I realized that how much money I spend every day on food.
Yeah, yeah.
I spend mad money
Yeah.
on food a week. And then I was saying, I was telling him in the car, it's like, you know, pretty much I'm having financial issues where we had to, you know, make more money. And I was able to, you know, I was good this month on my bills because I just didn't eat.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting there checking my account, talking to my wife. I was like, yo, Samuel. I mean, I say, yo, babe, I'm like, they paid me twice this week or something like that. She's like, no, they didn't. I'm like, yo, yes, they did. I was like, I got double the money in my account.
But you didn't
And
eat.
she was like, they didn't pay you twice. You didn't spend no money on food last week. I'm like, yo, I'm sitting there scrolling up and down. I'm like, yo, they paid me twice. I'm like, yo, dog,
Yeah,
like,
man. That food is dangerous.
that joint was crazy. Yo,
Yeah.
because I literally spent probably like, and she gonna.
I've
she
never
watching
had
this, I
that
spent like 24 hours. a
But
day
I've never
probably.
had that
Yeah.
problem.
Probably
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
So,
I never had that problem.
Because like
John
and-
has
because
that
we
problem.
Drive. Well,
Yeah.
you're doing more, but when you driving, you passing so many restaurants, like,
Yeah.
and then you see it, and then
But
you
I used
scroll
to
on your
work
phone.
by the restaurants. Like I used to work like
Nah,
in
When
the
you're
area.
driving, because when you drive, you can
Where-
break whatever
corporate,
you want.
we're all ordering from here. Put your order in and did it.
No, but
Nah.
how many breaks do you have?
Well, I was a
I
receptionist.
can't break
so I
every minute.
break
Yeah,
every-
your day is a break.
I
As
can
a
break every
driver.
minute.
Don't come
When I
from
see
my
that
job
restaurant, I can
title
stop
like
and
that.
eat.
That's crazy.
I
That's
can
an
stop
insult.
and eat when I see that restaurant, and that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Or like you pass the gas. Oh, I want some candy. Oh, I'm a little tired. Let me get a Monster. Oh man, Wendy's got French.
You know you
toast sticks
can,
now.
but
like,
you
7-Eleven
can,
just
but
put
you
them
know
wings
the
in a
same,
little
the same amount of
swirl.
money you spend every day on your
Let me
Monster.
get some of them right there.
You can definitely go to BJ's and buy a bulk and
yeah,
have
I
it
know,
with you
but
every
like
day.
when I'm but that's what you're talking about. It's about
But there's,
being
you
a
know,
steward
there's
of
also
money.
as a driver, there's also something relaxing
Here we
about
go.
pulling over,
Here we go.
going into the
This
gas
is this
station.
is Mr. Coffee
And then-
Man.
and then
He
you get
buys
a-
a coffee
But
literally
then
every
you
day.
get a routine
Going
too.
crazy.
Yeah, the
I like
routines.
coffee.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't-
To help
true.
you move through your day.
Yeah.
But
I
nah.
get, I get a coffee every day.
I am a home packed lunch person.
Yeah, but see, that's your
I like
thing.
it, and if I order, it's like a Friday maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't. I will go to BJ's and buy everything that y'all spending $4 on. I'm gonna buy it and $30, and I'm gonna get like 40 of them,
But you
and I'm
can't
gonna
make
have
it like
one.
that.
Dog, for a month I was eating Cracker
No, I'm
Barrel,
gonna get my
Cracker Barrel every
sodas.
day for breakfast. I was wilding.
That's wild.
But because my boss was doing it, but my boss got like he needs to get paid salary, like him, and then
Oh,
they
yeah.
was all eating. And I'm like, y'all got pancakes? I want pancakes too. My wife was like, you got what's the Cracker Barrel money? Now sometimes they was paying for me,
Yeah.
but other times when they wasn't paying for me, I want Cracker Barrel.
I'm
So I
not
was eating
a
Cracker
I'm not an
Barrel.
eat out person like
Like,
that.
But yeah.
Yeah, but
That's a good
definitely
point, though.
that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So that wasn't my problem. That wasn't my problem.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, another thing.
When
I
the
think
Lord said, "Oh, you're not gonna have no money to eat out," that's fine. That's totally fine. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Nah, and now, and then, you know, it be getting me now too, because like, I told Sam the other day, I said, "Babe, I am so hungry during the day." I was like, "I'm starving." Like, I'm used to eat like 6 times a day before 12 o'clock, because
Yeah.
I get out at.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm driving
Now,
at
if he
4:30
say-
a.m.
If you say, "All right, Kiara, them Target runs to Amazon," then I'll be like, "Hold up, Lord."
Yeah, see?
Because I need
that
that.
was me too.
I need that.
Amazon, and I just come to the crib, and I get. Yeah,
Amazon
that's one other thing.
is
Yeah.
a beast.
But nah, so
We'll have a pod on finances some other
yeah,
time.
yeah, we do. Yeah, but we got I wanted. I know we almost there, but I think I kind of remember what I was about to say. Like we could. I mean, it could
Go
go.
ahead.
It could go an hour. When we were talking about Christians, pretty much educating for lifetime purposes. I think a lot of times they don't. People don't read and pretty much read with the mindset of for my everyday, for my Monday through Friday type of thing. And I think that's why, and I think we don't, that might be something for like Bible study and all that stuff in like alternative classes, not on Sunday mornings though, but like giving people, and then like Sunday school and all that stuff, but like really like paying attention to the Bible pertaining to everyday things as far as, because like when you talk about the movies and all that stuff, like, yo, you can't go to movies. We always talk about stuff that we can't do, and I do think like understanding actually what we could do and actually relaying that to the younger generation, so it's not like I can't do nothing but sit in church all day.
Right. Yeah. The
I don't
Bible
think there's
does
an
not-
emphasis on those type of stories and stuff like that, because I think like before, the way church was marketed to me was like being like churchy and all that stuff, like just the choir stuff and tearing and all that stuff, and there was an excitement in that in our not generation, but in our culture, like the black
Yeah.
people. So that brought people in, and I think now since there is a switch in like people not being in church, it's like we need to pretty much learn how to live.
Right, but I think that another big thing too is with so much information
Yeah.
out today. I think another thing too is like older generations. I think we said this before. Older generations didn't have nothing to necessarily counter their beliefs on an everyday basis.
Yeah.
Fam, every day I go on Instagram or TikTok, there's someone telling me the Bible is fake. Jesus was just a man. Like every day, so you have to. Yeah, there's every day there's someone saying
Yeah.
challenging your faith. So I think today more than any other time, because we're here, you have to be equipped to
Being equipped.
to not only for yourself, because you don't know what kind of world we're only surviving because our parents foresaw this, right? And they told us, hey, fear God, obey God, blah 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 blah. We have to do the same thing for our children. But to your point, if we have like we've been in Bible class, how many young people under 40 are in Bible class? And
I want to
we've-
say something.
I
we've
was
seen
about to
we've
ask a
seen the
question,
we've
too.
seen the
Like-
lives of not lives, but the like Facebook lives.
Yeah.
We've seen the lives of people's Bible class. How many now there is a remnant of young people that are Bible knowledge.
Bible
and
study be
da-da-da.
boring.
I just want to know.
But lessons. I'm sorry, babe, but lessons is boring, right?
That's what I'm saying,
Learning, fam. Right now, Jermaine is a guru, low key. But learning finances is boring. But you know what I'm saying? Learning how to steward your finances is boring, but it's a tool that you need to function.
I
So
just
I
don't understand. I'm sorry. Two things.
Go ahead.
Right.
Two things. First thing is that how can you let someone deter you from your faith if you actually understand what your faith is?
Because they don't understand what their faith
That's
is.
what I'm saying. So
Right.
when did it become bad to learn, bad to ask questions? Like it's okay because you're reading the Bible. You're not a theologian.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how you
yeah,
say
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You're not a theologian, so you can't really interpret what you're reading, which is why it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to come to those Bible classes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure these pastors would appreciate you coming to the Bible
Yeah,
classes
that's what they're here
and
for.
reading and all of that stuff and asking these questions.
Right.
Like, so I just want to know when did it become like such a loser thing, quote unquote, for
It's not
learning?
a loser thing, but I do think that we have to. I agree wholeheartedly with AJ. I think we spend a lot of times on the don'ts, right? What you can't do. But I think that it's dangerous and also not false, but it gives a false sense of fluffiness, so to speak. Like, yo, fam, as a Christian, you are called to live your best, holy and righteous life.
Mm-hmm.
What now, as a Christian, you believe that God set the standards on what that life is. So that's a prerequisite, right? Living your best holy and righteous life. Now, what that means is being a good steward.
Yeah.
Right.
Sexual immorality, greed, envy, like that's the basics. So I think that in a generation, it's not a generational thing, it's been happening forever, but right now in our time where we don't necessarily want to give that up, we can't even get to step 2 because people can agree on step 1. We can't agree that greed is wrong, covetousness is wrong, sexual immorality is wrong. We can't even get to that point to even say, okay, now that we got that out the way, sexual morality, that's cool. How can I have a good marriage? Greed is cool. No, greed is bad. Covetousness is bad. How can I be a good steward so that I can live a fruitful financial life? So we can't even get past level 1 of just understanding that yes, there's a lot of things we can do, but to get there, remember conditional promises.
Right,
to get
right.
there, you have to walk with God, and that means being fearful and following His commandments.
Right.
So we can't even back in the day that there was an understanding of what that looked like, and there. But as Christians, like we said when we was talking about parenting, the Christian worldview is changing. You have some people, some churches that are preaching that you know sexual morality. Some churches are preaching super finances and riches, and God is going to give you the wealth of the world. Like, but we it's too many different things going on, and I think that once we all collectively establish, hey, this is what God said, and us as Christians, we have to follow this. Then we can take the step further and understand how to have a best life
But you
in
know what's
God.
real good though? It's like, because it's like you talking and then just keep on remembering what Jermaine said and all that stuff. It's just, I forgot that I read about money in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Bible does talk about money. The Bible does talk about how you're supposed to, handle your money and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I forgot that I read it. But that's why it's good to, like, once you read stuff, to continuously read and keep reading, so you're continuously like, have that. Because
But fam,
it really slipped my mind, like,
growing
talking
up,
about it.
what
But
did
yeah,
they tell us
talk
the
about it.
Bible was? Growing up, they told us the Bible was the basic instructions before
Yeah.
leaving Earth. We had an understanding that these are the things that we do to have a life here.
Right.
Yeah. But that's
They don't do that no more.
No.
That's
You know
why.
what I'm
But that's
saying?
why. But like I said, it's boring. I just said it boring.
I got
Because
you.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
saying
yeah.
it in the sense of the way people.
Right.
Yeah. But
The
that's
Bible is
why
very
Bible
practical,
study.
bro.
Bible study is very important. It's very. It's important to go to church every Sunday, but it can't be the only thing.
No, no,
Because
no,
I
no.
don't. The pastor is not going to preach. Well, sometimes the pastor does preach. Like you said, the pastor, preach. They preach pretty much a certain sermon for the, for on Sundays. But Bible study, that's where you get to meet it and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
also
yeah.
like reading on your own and stuff like that. And you do need to continuously read over and over again what you already read before to keep it under you.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is one. But yeah, we run over time. So let's go. We could. I think we got a lot of stuff in this episode that we actually can take and make episodes in their own.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we got good with that. Well, middle camera on. Yeah, but man, burping.
Oh,
It's time.
oh.
It's time to go. Hopefully, something that we say, you could take that home, and you learned a little bit of something with us today. Thank you for being with us. Bye.
Yeah.
See you later next time.